The first time I saw her, she was standing on the side of the road, barefoot and trembling, with her blindfold slipping off her face. It was late, past midnight. I had just left work and was driving down one of those narrow, dimly lit streets that connect to the outskirts of Lagos. At first, I thought she was a beggar, but when I slowed down, I noticed the bruises on her arms, the torn fabric of her dress, and the blank, panicked way her unseeing eyes darted in the direction of my car. "Help me," she mouthed, her voice so weak it barely made it past her lips. I should have kept driving. I wanted to, but something about her stopped me. "Let me back up a little. My name is Tunde, and I've been driving Kiki tricycle in Lagos for 5 years. The city is chaos, people hustling, police checkpoints, traffic that makes you want to pull your hair out. But it's home. You learn to mind your business here because Lagos will chew you up if you don't." That night, I was heading back to my one-room apartment in Agege after a long shift. The streets were quieter than usual, with only the occasional car passing by. When I saw the girl, I almost pretended I didn't. Lagos is full of strange things, and sometimes it's safer not to get involved. But I couldn't shake the way she looked, like she was barely holding on. So I stopped the Kiki and called out to her, "Sister, are you okay?" She flinched at my voice, like she was expecting someone else. Then she took a shaky step toward me and said, "Please, don't let him take me back." Her name was Eniola. She was blind, about 22, and had grown up in Surulere. She was supposed to be in school, studying music. Instead, she was standing on a deserted road, shaking like a leaf. I offered her water, which she drank like she hadn't had anything in days. Slowly, she told me her story. Her best friend, Funmi, had lured her into this nightmare. They'd known each other since secondary school and were as close as sisters. A few weeks ago, Funmi introduced her to a man she claimed was a businessman. He was older, maybe in his 50s, but kind and generous. He told Eniola he wanted to sponsor her education. "He said he could help me," she whispered. "He even gave me money for my mum." But it was a lie. The man wasn't a businessman. He was something far worse. The night before, Funmi had convinced Eniola to come to a networking event at a hotel in Lekki. Eniola trusted her completely, so she went without question. But when they got there, the man was waiting. He and Funmi drugged her, blindfolded her, and tied her hands. "I don't know how long I was out," Eniola said, her voice breaking. "When I woke up, I heard them arguing about how much I was worth." She didn't need to explain what they planned to do with her. In Lagos, you hear enough stories about ritualists and human traffickers to know how these things end. Somehow, Eniola had managed to escape. The man had left her locked in a room while he went to make arrangements. Funmi had slipped out earlier, probably to collect her cut of the money. Eniola felt around for a way out and found an open window. She climbed out and ran, following the sound of traffic, until she reached the road where I found her. As she spoke, I kept glancing in the rearview mirror. The street was too quiet, and I had the creeping feeling we weren't alone. "We need to get out of here," I said, starting the Kiki. Eniola nodded, clutching the bottle of water like it was the only thing keeping her steady. I didn't know where to take her, but I figured anywhere was safer than that street. I turned onto a main road, heading toward a police station I knew wasn't too far away. That's when I saw the black SUV. It was following us, its headlights glaring like two angry eyes. "Is that him?" I asked, my voice tight. Eniola turned her head slightly, her face pale. "I don't know, but I feel him." The SUV sped up, closing the distance between us. I swerved into a side street, the caca rattling as I pushed it harder than I ever had. My heart was pounding, and all I could think was that I'd made a mistake. I should have kept driving when I saw her. "Hold on!" I shouted as we bounced over a pothole. The SUV was still behind us, its engine roaring. Then I saw a man leaning out of the passenger window, holding something long and sharp. My stomach dropped. "They're going to kill us," Eniola whispered. "No, they're not," I said, though I didn't believe it. "I don't know how, but I managed to lose them. Maybe it was luck, or maybe the tight, winding streets of the city were on my side that night. Either way, I got us to the police station. The officers were skeptical at first. They said I shouldn't have brought her there, that it wasn't safe for me to get involved. But when Eniola told them her story, something shifted. One of the officers made a call, and within minutes the station was buzzing with activity. They sent men to the hotel in Lekki and put out a notice for the black SUV. As for Funmi, they found her 2 days later, hiding in a cheap motel. She confessed everything, how the man had promised her millions if she delivered Eniola, how she'd been planning it for months. The man himself disappeared. People said he had powerful connections, the kind that made him untouchable. Eniola stayed with me for a while after that. She had nowhere else to go, and I couldn't just leave her. She was quiet, still processing what had happened, but I could see her strength returning little by little. Sometimes, at night, she'd wake up screaming, saying she could feel him watching her. I didn't know what to say to make it better. All I could do was stay by her side and promise her she was safe. Lagos is a city of shadows, full of people chasing their own survival. But that night I learned something important. Even in a place like this, you have to hold on to your humanity. Because if you don't, you might end up like Funmi. Or worse, like the man who bought her.